Trying to get my ears popped. It's about 11:30 for anyone joining me right now. I have windows open, so if you hear a big puff of air, that's what's going on. I've got my glue gun on. We're going to be working on, man, this angle is really horrible for me. We're going to be working on, don't fall. We're going to be working on the fox dangles for dreamcatchers. And that's what we're going to be working on today. And I feel like I have been scalped because my hair has been pulled back for so many days in a row. So, but that's about legit the only way I can wear it right now. Especially with all this weather and wind. Like, I don't know why Mother Nature is like wanting it to stay March. But hey, Mother Nature, can we pick another month? Because March sucked and we don't need another sucky month. So you can't tell I have hair because it blends into the beaver pelts behind me. So I don't know. Anyway, I have all the windows open. You're going to hear log trucks as they pass going to the sawmill. You're going to hear God knows what. Going to hear the wind. So just bear with me. And we're going to try to get some stuff done on this. I've not felt great the last few days. And as you can tell, I'm less swollen, but I'm still swollen. Jaw seems to be better today, though. It was really swollen the other day. And I am trying my darndest to get these dream catchers done so that I can, hang on, how did I have it? So that I can move on to, I don't want to post it off there. So that I can move on to the rattles. And I'm slowly getting my craft pile under control. Very slowly getting my craft pile under control. So if you're new here, hi. If you're, I just dropped a piece. If you're not new here, howdy anyway. My name is Liz. AKA, they call me Hillbilly Heart, but that's just the name of the channel because our channel has about everything to do with the hillbilly lifestyle. I am a retired parole officer. My husband is a trapper tanner. And we live in remote Podunk, Appalachia. And I look like my Irish father, but I do have quite a bit of native in me, and it's from my mother's side, and it goes to the Lenape and all the way back to the Delaware tribe. And it's a really neat lineage if you take the time to research it. It's a fairly big research ordeal, but it's a really neat lineage, and I'm really honored. My mom used to take us to the powwows and kind of educate us about the tribe and just kind of teach us a little bit more about that side of things. I kind of kept with it as I grew up, kept visiting the powwows, kept getting into the tribe, made some good friends, got a little bit more information, and became an adult that really tried to always, I don't know, respect that side of my life. So that's what I like to do. I like to respect that side of life and do some things. So what I'm working on right now is I'm taking their old sables, their old vintage sables made out of fox fur, and I just can't stomach the thought of such beautiful fur going into the garbage. It bothers me greatly to think that this fur would have otherwise been deemed trash, and it's so beautiful. But what I'm doing is taking it where it's blended together for the sables. So it's like a whole bunch of foxtails that they then blend together to make the sable. So what I'm doing is taking and running a leather cord down the middle and gluing it around that to make it stronger, so that when I make a dangle for a dream catcher, it will have a little bit more strength to it. Because where I've cut it off the sable, you know, the sewed ends are loose now and it can fall apart. So I have to add another spine, if you will, so that it will not fall apart. So I'm just adding the leather in there to give it some more stability. And this is a great way to use those old vintage sables so that they don't go to waste, and so that they don't end up in the landfill, and, you know, let somebody else enjoy them, because they still have a lot of life left in them. They're still really beautiful pieces and they still have a lot of life left in them. So my husband is a trapper tanner, and he's getting ready to go to a spring planting festival. That's pretty. A spring planting festival here in our area, and kind of do a little exhibition and marketplace with his furs. And I don't know if my health is going to allow me to go or not. I've just not had the best health record the last little bit, but I still want to send stuff with him. And he like gets me everything to craft. I do physical therapy through crafting. Of course, I do physical therapy through the year too, but I do a lot of physical therapy through my crafting for my hands, because I do have a neuromuscular disorder. If you know me, you know the spiel. I used to be a wilderness camp counselor. I had a boy attack me with an axe. I've had multiple surgeries. I damaged a part of my nerve bundle in my body, and so I developed a neuromuscular disorder from the damage, and it's now spreading, and it's even attacking my organs now. So it's not, you know, not the funnest thing to talk about, but it's life. It happens. And so I deal with that, and I try to do a lot of stuff at home to help combat the symptoms of what I deal with, and slow down the progression of this, because it is listed basically as a terminal diagnosis because it spreads. It's just really slow. And I have to say that I'm blessed, because my symptoms are not as severe as some people's. And I try to see the positive there. Although the two women that I met when we were all diagnosed at the same time, they've already passed. And so I'm the last OG standing in that group. And it's kind of a lonely world at times. And sometimes I have days and even weeks where I feel normal. And then like this winter, I haven't felt normal all winter, and I'm struggling this spring. Is what it is. What happened to Joe? What? What happened to Joe Rogan? Leah, I could not even begin to say your name. I'm sure it's beautiful, but it won't come out of this Appalachia mouth. I look atrocious. I've been in flare for a few weeks now with the weather, so just overlook me. I've been in flare. We've got, is it Mia? Yes, Mia. I don't know who Steven is. He may be pulling one. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just putting a piece of leather through this fox fur, and this is fox fur off of an old vintage stole. So since they sew all the tails together to make the stoles, when I take and cut them apart, it makes that seam want to pull out. So I go, and I've got the window open and a flower pot just fell. Woo! So I go and I put a piece of leather through the whole thing in the middle and glue it around it to give it a backbone, a little bit stronger core, so that when I put it on the dream catcher, it's not going to just immediately pull out. And if you've never seen stuff like this, you know, some of my art may shock and awe you if you don't have a Appalachia home or a native background. Don't let it. Don't let it. And if you want to see what my husband does and some of the other artwork that I do, you can go to his Etsy store, because he purchases me all this stuff to craft with. So if I make something super pretty, I give it to him so that he can recoup some of the fees that he spends on me for crafting. and he can buy me more stuff to craft with. Because leather crafting and fur crafting, it's expensive, especially if he, you know, doesn't have enough fur for me to use, you know, that he trapped himself that winter. So you can go to his Etsy store, and it's Hillbilly Heart Decor, and he's got quite a bit of his fur on there, and some of my fur bags I've made, and I name everything I make. I name. So they all have names, and he gets really irritated because I'll be like, tell whoever buys it that its name is blah blah blah, you know, and he'd be like, I'm not saying that. And I'm like, why not? It's its name. So okay, so we've got the second one done now. So we've got a pair of these are going to be part of our fur dangles and feather dangles on the sides. So I'm going to use one that I wove the other day. It's also another one of these really odd shapes. As you can see, I'm loving these odd shapes. This is like old school willow from the pond and the property way over yonder. We go and harvest our willow ourselves that I weave with. I also do have a willow on my property. But I really like to go and get like the old school willow. So these have been drying since like December. You want to cut them when the sap's down, and they dry quicker and they hold their shape better. And I only, if I'm making a true dream catcher, not just a decor piece, if I'm making a true dream catcher for somebody that's having some issues, I only ever use willow because willow is what we were taught is a heartwood. And willow, oddly enough, is also the wood that they use to douse and find water. So that's kind of the properties of willow. Let me go put this window down just a little bit, or we're going to get blown away. Quite probably. Blowed away. Those gusts are very strong. I live up on top of the plateau above the mountains, and there's no windbreak. And so when the wind blows, it just straight through. I also made porcupine quill jewelry the other day. That was, I don't enjoy working with porcupine quills. I just don't. But I made some. Up to my finger protector. Oh well, it's okay. But I have been on a craft bender for, oh gosh, a month now? Probably a month. I usually get much more done in the winter, but we had such a hard winter this year. I didn't get a lot done. I did make a beautiful ceremonial stick yesterday, and I'm fixing to do a rattle with a polished steer horn. But you know, it's just things that you have to kind of get used to. Let me show you my rattle. It's just a that if you're not in it, you don't quite understand it. But that's okay. You can always learn. So here's my ceremonial stick. It's so big you can't fit it into frame. It's got a raccoon pelvis. It's fox fur wrapped. It's got 3 different kinds of feathers. It's got buffalo horn and bison horn and buffalo bone beads on it. It's got feather drops. It's got a leather wrap with a sinew pattern on it. Got a fur dangle. It's bone weighted at the back. And these will be used in ceremonies in the communal hall. And with these, they only get passed backwards to respect the past and elders. And the only person in the communal hall that can speak is the person holding this ceremonial stick. So I make the ceremonial sticks, and I make the rattles. So, and I love these things, but I don't make very many, but I love them. I don't know. Somebody just said something about Joe Rogan. They come in here and said it. Who knows? They may be trolling. Let me hang this back up. You know how people come into chats and they say something to get everybody amped up? They very probably was just saying something to get everybody amped up. That would be my take on it anyway. I haven't heard any news, but I also live in Podunk and haven't listened to the news. So I don't like to listen to the news. Okay, so we're going to be using this one, and as I do stuff, I will get y'all Kena's? I don't know. I'm going to be working on this one. It's an odd shape. We're going to be putting the fox dangles on this side. It will have some ribbons and feathers possibly on the inside as well. And I'm thinking when I get it all put together, I am thinking of putting this wooden mama fox and baby fox on it as a decor piece, just to kind of pull it all together, because this is not going to be your like primitive, authentic, help somebody out dreamcatcher. It's going to be just probably a decor piece that somebody's going to enjoy. So I can kind of fudge the lines on that one and make it more of a decorative piece. And so sometimes I do that, and some people would prefer to just, have a decor piece. And so when my husband goes to festivals and exhibitions and stuff, it depends on what kind he goes to. If he goes to just like the new agey ones where people are trying to learn the old ways, he'll take more decor items. And if he goes to the ones that are actually the primitive based ones where they're actually celebrating like old school life, then he will take the real dream catchers. So, but mostly, I just, if I feel good, I make them. If I don't feel good, I won't make them. I only weave when I'm happy, and that's a big one that they taught me when I was little. You only weave when you're happy. So that's something I learned. You only weave when you're happy. And when I make dream catchers for people, if they're having issues, I shut my whole house down, and that's all I focus on when I weave. So I think about nothing else. If someone has entrusted me to weave for them, I think about nothing else, and I weave their dream catcher. So it's a kind of a somber, serious event when I weave for somebody that's having a problem and needing help in the form of a dream catcher. I have dream catchers all across the U.S. And when I weave for somebody having a problem, basically you pay for what goes into your dream catcher, the threads and the gemstones, the crystals, the fur, the feathers, and all that stuff. But my weaving's free. So I just want payback for what I put in there. And they do get kind of expensive. If you really, really, put your all into it, they really do get kind of expensive. But I always get really good feedback. So a lot of people that have them, they swear by them. And I always really appreciate the feedback, and for them to, let me know how they're doing. We'll probably put some lamb's ear on this one. I'm definitely putting a lot of ribbon on this one. We'll probably put some selenite on this one. Some selenite straws. I do like to put quite a bit of gemstones and crystals on stuff, so we'll probably do some selenite straws. And I'm trying to look up some of my different colored ribbons right now, because I definitely want to incorporate that. And then we're going to do some leather drops as well. And I'm going to do some burlap also, just to bring in a lot of neutral, natural, but with a little bit of flair. You want it to have a little bit of flair. And for my feathers, I normally have people that have fowl farms pick up the feathers. It gets kind of slim pickings around this time of year because of the winters and stuff. But I don't mind to buy dyed goose feathers and stuff, but I prefer to buy them from small fowl farmers that can just pick them up, and I can bring them home and run them through a salt bath and sterilize them and have what I need. They get a boost in the form of a little bit of income, and I get the feathers, and everybody's happy. I prefer to do that. This time of year, it's really hard to do that because, like I said, everybody's chickens are just basically done. They're like, no, man, we're done. So I'm just spacing all the white ribbons out right now. I'm doing the little like a lace crochet. This is going to be a prettier dream catcher. So I'm going to put a lot of the pretty ribbons on it before I put the fur on the sides. And we're going to make this one more of a pretty. And this festival he's going to next weekend is more for young adults starting families, and so they're looking for more decor. They don't really have the background, or they don't really have the background or really desire the historical context, sadly. So I do more decor pieces for this event. And I may weave several of these, and he may not like them and may not take them, and I may weave 2, and he may want them both. But because he does buy me everything that I weave throughout the year with, I just let him pick and choose. And then one he doesn't want, I normally gift to friends and family. And I hang some as decor in my own home. But normally friends and family see them, and then that's where they end up. That's where they end up. Usually, that's where they end up. Okay, I'm going to have one piece left over from that, but that's okay. I'll make a bow somewhere and put that on it. The wind here will not stop, y'all. It's been March. It's been March since January. The wind this year has been horrible. Absolutely horrible. It has definitely been wild. We've already had a couple of tornadoes in this small area. It's just been a really weird winter and spring. Really weird. Yeah, so whoever come into my chat and said something about Joe Rogan, hey, if something actually did happen to Joe Rogan, let me know, because I just am not one to go and chase down stories. And if I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. And that's kind of where I end on that. I'm going to save that for another one. Now I'm going to go into some leather. And I have big rolls that I bought at local Amish leather shop. And then I have some little rolls that I purchased that are just darker, different colors. And that's the only reason I purchased them. They're different colors. And I also want different textures. So I do a little bit of everything. Right now, we've just got the pretty ribbons going on through the dreamcatcher. So we can't just have that, although it is very pretty, but we can't just have that. So for my subs as you come in, if y'all don't care, toss up some prayers for my mama. She's been having some vertigo and blood pressure issues, and we just don't know where it's coming from because she's never had those issues before. So we're all just kind of scratching our heads when they're wanting the crap because she's never had those issues before. Now, the spring weather and wind has actually even caused me some vertigo issues. But I have ears that are not quite right. I have extra bones and bone marrow in my ears. And so I have a lot of reaction to wind and certain weather patterns. But normally my mother does not. So it's kind of had us all kind of like, what's going on with you? So we're keeping a close eye on her and hoping she gets to feeling better. It's really strange for her to ever really have any health issues. So, and I should already be back down at the farm, but sadly the neighbor next door, their house burned a week ago Thursday, and so I had to stay for a few days because the fire department needed somebody to call when it flamed back up. And then they were also like, probably don't want to leave your home because they didn't know what had prompted the fire, like if there was another issue. And so I have kind of been, and I'm a retired parole officer, so I've kind of been the warden watching the land, but I really need to get back down to the farm because that's where I rest the best. My health does not do the greatest when I'm up here. and I really need to be back down the farm and resting, and because I'm just getting worn out being up here this long. So I should be back down there very soon, and when I get there, we'll do a check-in on all the cows and Ruby and Waylon, and just check on everybody, see how everybody's doing. I know that everybody misses Ruby and Dasher and Waylon when they don't get to see them. And my aunts had to stay after some health stuff, and my brothers had to stay and stuff. So it's just been a back and forth for thing for me here lately. So, but I'll get back down there. I will get back down there. Now then, I'm trying to pay attention to where I'm putting stuff and making sure I'm putting it the right way. So we're going to put tons of feathers, tons of leather. And for my guys that pop in and out and watch this later, I know it's the weekends here and we're all wanting to go do awesome things, and that's great. This will be here when you just want to watch it. But I'm trying to, I have so many people say just, you know, walk us through it as you're making a dream catcher. And these are not the really authentic ones, but you can kind of see the process that I go through when I make them. So all I'm doing is looping these over so that they will have good movement. And then I will pick and choose which ones I want to actually add feathers to. And I do still have some pheasant feathers that I will be adding to this, just because it pulls out a lot of the same colors. So when I add feathers, it will most likely be the pheasant feathers. Might put some turkey feathers, don't know. But I definitely have some pheasant feathers that I think would be beautiful on this. And now we've got this many of the dangles and leathers going on. I really think that's pretty. And you just kind of want to let them get straight. Before I ever cut the edge, I normally let them get straight and hang for, you know, a week or so, lots of times, just to let them get pulled out and straight, so that I know I'm not gonna waste leather, because I don't want to cut one and have it be short and then go, well, shoot, now I've got to fit that and use more leather. I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that at all. So I let them hang for a while and I'll let it straighten itself out, and then I will come back and cut them after they've straightened out for a while, because I don't want to make a oopsie and cut anything too short and have to waste another piece of leather. Leather is expensive, and the leather guy that I have, he does such a great job, and I don't mind to purchase a lot off of him, but you know, it is expensive when you support somebody that is an artisan like that. So I try to not waste the leather because it can get expensive. And I'm about to run out of this green ribbon. I love this green ribbon. This has probably been my favorite ribbon. I don't know how many spools of this I've gone through the last little bit. I know a lot. But it has been my favorite color of ribbon that I have worked with in probably the last 3 years. And I'm down to the last of it, and I'm absolutely going to cry when I run out, because I can't find this color in this sheer capacity anywhere else. So I'm going to be sad when I run out of it. Y'all, I wish I felt better. Yesterday was a rough day. Today is lining up to be kind of another I don't feel so great day. I'm wanting to get out and do stuff. The wind just plays havoc with my system and my disorder. And I have got started plants that I think as of right now I can put in my containers outside, and then I can just cover them if the weather gets bad. But I've got to feel like getting them out there and cleaning out and adding new soil and everything. When you have a disorder, everything becomes a fight, and I absolutely hate that. And so, but I really have got stuff I need to do. My husband, I think he's cutting firewood today. I'm not sure. I think he's cutting firewood today. I'm pretty sure he's cutting firewood today. I don't know. My health has been really bad the last year, so I've mostly lived on the farm, because most of the time when I'm really sick require a lot of somebody keeping their eyes on me. So he's just gotten used to doing his own thing, and I do my own thing. Now we're here. I like that. think I'm going to put one right smack in the middle there. So I don't know, we just do our own thing, and it's been the hardest year on our marriage, and we've just, you know, we're not divorced or anything, but we just, you know, I live down the mountain most of the time, and I'm just not home a lot, and so he doesn't check in with me. He does, which is fine. I don't need to monitor a 47-year-old man. Okay, now then, I want to look at this really closely. And I know I'm going to want to put some other stuff specifically on there. But I also want to go through and make sure I've gotten the stuff that I want on there. And here's where, you know, I have like an inventory in my head. I thought I had some pinky colored ribbon, but I may not have. But in my inventory in my noggin, I thought I did. So usually the inventory in my noggin is pretty spot on. So I bet you I do have some somewhere. I bet you I do. Just cannot find it. What is that? So give me just a moment to see if I can find that pink ribbon. Oh, found it. So I'm wanting to play off of, there's my jewelry glue. I'm wanting to play off the muted colors that kind of go with the fox. And I think the roses look really good with the fox colors. And I also like the burlap that has the leaves on it. So we're going to pull those out. I am really, really, really going to stack the drapery to this because that is something that the people at these festivals are really drawn to. So I'm really gonna stack the drapery on this. And if you come in and you're new, say howdy, my name's Liz. I'm just sitting here working on a dream catcher. We're just putting the drapery on the bottom. I wove it. I love these odd shapes that I've been weaving. What I do is I weave them. We collect the willow. It takes a month or so to let the willow really dry out. We bend it and let it dry. And then I weave it and kind of let it sit there, and it will kind of form its own shape. And then I pick the shapes that I like the best to work with first, and I go from there. And so I've had this willow since about November, December, and I'm not doing like a super authentic dream catcher, though I do those. I do those for people that are having issues that they need a dream catcher for. But what I'm doing is my husband's got a little exhibition market next weekend. He's a trapper tanner, and he buys me everything just to let me craft through the winter because I use it as my physical therapy for my neuromuscular disorder. And so when I make something really pretty, I'm like, here, if you want to take it, you can recoup some of the money you spend on my crafting obsession. But I'm native, so I feel like I have to craft and do these things. I feel like I have to. But I'll try to let him recoup some of the damage that I do with the crafting fees, because I do a lot. So now we're just going to start interlacing these, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I get all of these on there. It's going to start to fill it out a little bit more. I want a lot of movement in the wind, and I'm not going to glue anything until I get them all attached, and I'm absolutely positive I have everything where I want it. And then I will go back and permanently affix things, tack it down. I will use some leather cement on the leather to make the leather hold and not want to bend. And just do a lot of that. Let's see, how many more do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4. So there are a lot of ways to minimally attach these so they still have a lot of free movement, but they're secure. I know that last year he said he had like 40-mile-per-hour wind gust at this event, and he was like, I didn't even lose not one feather. And I was like, cool, I make good stuff. I was actually very proud that he didn't lose not one feather. And I'm just looking at the spacing and making sure I'm getting everything spaced correctly. So when you see me pause and do that, just making sure I get the spacing correctly. I've been doing the oblong. I've had several drawn in oblong patterns, so I've been doing several oblong dream catchers lately, and I like them. I really like them. So I've been very tickled with how this last batch of willow has been super creative on its own. I just run with it. Now, could I put it upright? Yeah, but I'm really, with these big dangles on the side of fur that I'm fixing to use, I don't know, I just love them when they're horizontal as opposed to vertical. So, okay, now we added those, and that just helped to bring some more color. It's going to have a lot of movement in the wind. If I want to attach feathers, it could be really easy just to tie them in and put a little drop of glue. You don't have to do any of the big gathering knots or, you know, the big difficult tie-ins. You can just kind of put it there. Now, I'm thinking, because I'm doing a very colorful one, I'm thinking about putting this mom and baby fox on there, because this is going to have foxtails on it. And I think this is flipping adorable. Now, I will have to put a leather backing on it, but I'm thinking about putting it over here on the side and putting a leather backing and then just doing some flowers. You could do it like this, but then I'd be afraid that the tail would probably break. I don't know. That just makes me terrified that the tail would break, although it would be cute. Now, I also have some regular colored wood, which, I don't know, maybe better for this. Let me see. I have some regular colored wood die cuts, little foxes like this, which may be I don't know, maybe the way to go here. Possibly could be the way to go. I kind of like them. Now that I'm looking at them, I think they're kind of cute. You can put them with a tree. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to, let's do that. I like the way that looks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a leather backing for these so that it affixes itself to a leather backing. And then I'm just going to add dried flowers and stuff, gemstones to cover the open drilled holes. Because you can turn these into ornaments, garlands. You can make them into anything. I particularly love to use them in this manner. So yeah, I kind of like that. It's kind of a muted tone. So you'll have a little fox and some trees on this one. And I kind of really like that. So I'm going to turn it. Okay, yeah. I'm going to keep it like this, but I'm going to have to cut leather to put behind it to affix them to the dream catcher so that it will not hold to the weave on its own. So I'm going to have to use pieces of leather to make them hold. So I have my suede leather back here. I'm just going to cut little rectangles and probably do those in half for the trees because they will not affix to the weave. The weave is a wide weave, so they won't hold. So you just affix those to the back when you glue it in, and then we'll add some stuff to cover the holes, the die cut holes. I've got so much crap in my kitchen right now. And my craft room is, I've been organizing, reorganizing my craft room, which is looking pretty good, but still my craft room is an atrocious mess right now. So I've been kind of, as I've pulled all this stuff out to work on stuff, I have been reorganizing my craft room as I put it back up. It's been an event. It's been a very big event. Now I'm going to make sure that this leather is going to go across a crosshatch like that, so that it can hold very firmly, because it has to have something to hold to. It has to have something to hold to. So you're going to have to make sure you're going to pick which side you want as the front and the back right now. So make sure you make a good decision. Okay. And make sure you are dedicated and okay with where you're putting everything. My glue gun is super old. Try not to burn your fingers, though I say that and I still do it every time. They used to play a drinking game where every time I'd burn my fingers, they would drink something. I can't tell you what to drink, but you know. They all thought that was just so much fun. And the sad thing is I really try not to burn my fingers, but it happens, so. The other thing I'm going to try to do today is to have my husband, when he pops in at some point, is have him drill some deer antler tines. The tips have been cut off, and I'm wanting him to drill holes in the top so I can make them into pendants. My hands are not stable enough for that anymore, so I have to bug him to do that. And I'm going to make some. This is what we're going for. I'm going to make some deer tine pendants. This is what we're going for. Maybe put one more tree up here. I don't know. Maybe put one over here. I don't know. You could do a whole scene if you wanted to. You could do a whole scene. And then we'll get into our dried flower stash and cover I like the greenery when I'm working with the dream catchers. We can cover those holes. You can cover them with, sometimes I put selenite, and I will put selenite on this. Probably it's on the table somewhere. Probably be the last thing I put on. I use the selenite straws and the gemstones to balance out my dream catchers so that they hang correctly. So that's a tip. If you make a dream catcher and you start adding to it and your weight's off, use your gemstones to balance out your dream catchers. But I use a lot of greenery to bring out the colors of the ribbons and stuff like that. It's my favorite. It's my favorite little cheat code, is to really use the greenery. But lots of times I will also just use a gemstone or a pretty bone bead, hematite, something like that, to cover the holes in the die cuts, just because I like to do that. And I also have, I use some bone sometimes as well. Just depends on what is handy at that time and kind of what I'm going for, what look I'm going for. The dried flowers, you do have to be careful with them. And it's one of those things that when there are kids at the shows, you have to tell the kids, please don't touch the dried flowers. I want the kids to come up and, you know, explore, and because most of them never see stuff like this, but I also have to remind them, delicate, be delicate. But you know, we want kids are very very interested in the old ways again, and I think it's a very necessary interest. I think it's a good thing for kids to once again be interested in those old ways. I think it's gonna be stuff that's gonna be handy again here soon. I think time and eras kind of go back and forth. It's a pendulum swing, and I think the old ways are making some comebacks, and it's good that the kids are interested in them again. I come from a family that my dad was a blacksmith, and so it was normal to see somebody constantly working with their hands, making things, working with animals. And kids don't grow up like that anymore, which is really sad because it limits their capacity to understand artistry in a way. And so now that they're all getting back into the old ways, I'm like, well, hallelujah, we're building up that part of our brain again that we have really kind of let go for a number of years. I mean, let's just be honest. Have y'all noticed? Even the people that, you know, like come out and they're like, they call themselves artists, they're normally just mimicking another art form, but now you're starting to see true original art again. So it's nice to see that those interests are being picked again. For a while, it just was something that we didn't see in kids. I used to work with juvenile offenders before I worked with the adult offenders, and those kids seemed to be more creative than the kids that, you know, were kind of in good homes and had everything. But I think sometimes it was not a good creativity. They used it in the wrong way. But it was just strange how you saw different types of creativity in the different social caste systems and the different strata layers of society. It was very interesting where creativity lived socioeconomically and where it did not. I just always was really intrigued by that. Okay, I went ahead and tightened down my ribbons. So this is where we're at right now. I'm starting to put on the dried flowers. I am going to put gemstones or beads to cover that. And I think I may go with hematite or turquoise. I have both available here. I used a lot of bone beads in the other one that I just did. So I'm kind of over the bone beads right now. I mean, I love my bone beads, but I'm ready to use something else. So, and my other bone bead maker was a little, he was Sue and a few other things. And he has retired because, well, he got to like 91 and he was like, I'm going to have to stop making beads. Now he would make bone beads on his own, you know, handmade completely. And then he would burn patterns into them. I mean, his work was awesome. His name was Curtis. And he has retired, and y'all, trying to find a new Curtis, it's been difficult because I could talk to him and tell him what I needed, and he could just manufacture it. He was just an artist. And I'm having a really hard time finding somebody that can replace Curtis. And that's the sign of a really good artisan, is when you can't replace them. That's a really good artisan. And it's painful for me. I mean, I wish him all the happiness and retirement, and he certainly has earned it. But man, it's hard to replace him. It's really hard to replace him. So I'm going to put some turquoise in just random spots so that it doesn't look like I've just covered up a hole. If you get my drift, I'm going to put it in some other spots so that it just looks more like an adornment than me covering up a hole. And then the very last thing, you may not see me do it, the very last thing I'll do is when I balance out the weight so this dream catcher hangs correctly, that's when I will put my selenite and my other gemstones on. And that is how I will balance out and make it hang properly. And sometimes I put copper hangers. I will take some copper metal and put some copper hangers on them. And then sometimes I just make a leather hanger. It just depends on the structure required by each independent dream catcher, what it needs to make sure that it hangs straight. Some of them require a little bit more, and I will use a metal. And some of them do really well with just leather. So it's just kind of whatever's necessary. If you hear pop, pop, pops, there's a gun range not too far away, so don't freak out. That bead was not all the way broken, so I broke it. So all in all, when I make a dream catcher, from harvesting the willow, drying the willow, weaving, and then having to let it stay woven and dry again. And then making it, I have it in process for probably around a month. So there, it's got those on there. Now I'm going to put more dried flowers and stuff on there so they won't stick out like a sore thumb. But I'm loving all the movement down here. Very nice. Loving all the movement. Okay, let's see. Let's put some more dried flowers. I'm gonna do quite a bit of greenery. I like to play on the greens, especially since we're gonna be using the coppers and the reds and the pinks and with the ribbons and the foxtail. So I'm kind of liking the play on the pretty colors mixed with the rustic colors. So that's kind of what I'm going for right now. And I just kind of attach these to the rim of the dreamcatcher and to the edge of the wood die cut. And once they have kind of affixed and further dried, they will stay there. They're not really bad to move at all. It's getting the dried flowers to stay there for the first week. And then once they have kind of affixed themselves and dried, they kind of weave themselves in. Once they dry, they're not very likely to come off unless there's really high wind. And if there's really high wind at these events, lots of times my husband will actually like put them back up because he knows how much effort I put into these things. He will put them back up, and people will be like, "Where are they?" And he'll be like, "I had to put them up. There's too much wind." It's not that anything really breaks on them. He just doesn't want me to have to repair them because, yeah, I don't have very many great health days to do this on the get-go. So to have to then repair something that if he had just been careful with it, I wouldn't have had to. It's frustrating. So he is pretty careful with the stuff I make. He does a good job. And then we have got just the petaled flowers, and we're just going to sprinkle some color through. Let me sprinkle some color through, and then I will show you. And I love these really old dried ones too. The juxtaposition of the old and the new, I just really love it. Just really love it. It makes me happy. But yeah, so by the time I make the dreamcatcher, I've been working on it from drying it to weaving it to then drying it again. I've worked on it for a month or more. So it is a labor of love. It's also kind of good that it does that for me because with my health kind of back and forth, it gives me, I can set it down for a while and it's not going to ruin. And then I can pick it back up when I feel better. So it's kind of beneficial. Do not stick your finger in glue. So if you're playing the game, I just burnt myself again. We're going to attach the foxtails in just a moment. Trying to get just a little bit more color in here, and then I'm going to have to put a backing on this as well. Because I will put a backing to kind of anchor and cover up the flower backs. Hot. Done it again. Okay. Now then, I want to put something right smack in the middle. Going to blend in just a couple of little faux ones right here just to add a little color. Then I'll show you before I back it. Just need a little punch color. Not a big punch, just a little punch. Just something to draw your eye. Somewhere else. I'm trying to leave the tail on that present though, so that you can still see the tail on the fox. So now I'm just trying to put in a little bit of color in a couple places. Okay. So I had a total of 4 tiny faux flowers, and that'd be about all the fakery I put on it. So what we did there was make a little vignette of the fox going through the forest with the dried flowers, 4 of the fake ones, some dried green and dried raspberry looking ones. Got the turquoise on the die cut cutouts, and we've got great movement. And you know, I may not put very many feathers if I put the foxtails on and I think they look good. I may not add many feathers. Just have to look at it and see what I think it needs. Lots of times with these, I'll make a kind of a really odd looking bow on the top and let that bow add some volume and some layering, and maybe stick a feather in it, and then I don't really do a lot of feathers elsewhere. So I'm going to lay down a piece of leather here now so I can back and anchor some of my flowers that I put on here. So that's what I'm doing now. I just put a strip of leather back here, and I'm going to flip it back over, and I'm going to push my flowers down one more time. Hurt myself again for playing the game. Have another drink. So got a backing there, and I'm going to do one small one behind and below the tree as well. And it really is impossible to not catch the glue somewhere when you do this. It's just, you're working with a weaving. You're gonna get glue on you somewhere because it's just a weaving. It's too much open space. Too much open space. Okay, so I just added strips to anchor those back there. So now they're anchored, and that's going to stay like that. So I have to constantly look. So every time I add something over here, when I get ready to hang it, the weight will have to go over here to counterbalance it. So I know that this is where my gemstones and selenite and stuff's going to go, but for right now, I'm gonna hang the foxtails, and I'm gonna pick the heavier one to go on the side that needs the weight. So I'm gonna hold them up, and I'm gonna determine which one's heavier. This one. And we're gonna hang it from the side. And I'm gonna do a funny little tie knot. Then I'm going to determine kind of where I want it at. I think I want them down. Yeah. I think I'm going to want them to hang kind of lower down. Yeah. Yep. Yes. And I'm thinking maybe we could do something asymmetrical with this. Hang on. Having a thought. It happens. Let's look at something here for a moment. I'm having a moment. Let's see if I can figure this out. I'm just going to tie it for looks right now to see what it looks like. I'm thinking I can do an asymmetrical one dangle. Just jump off the table, everybody. Anyway, it'd have to come up an asymmetrical one dangle, and then do up here like a puff with a bow. And look, once again, got balance restored. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. For some reason, that is just calling my name. I really like that. Really like that. Okay, well, let me shut up and work on it. I'm going to wrap this leather around this other leather because it will grip better. And then what I will do is actually I will glue some of the hair over that leather too, so that it covers some of my tying. So you don't want all that to show. You just don't. But I want it secure. And that will also help secure the tail. Because remember, we added that leather core down through the tail because these are old vintage stoles. And so when I rip the seam apart, we have to then add a backbone so that it is strong enough to not pull apart. I'm eating hair. So remember, you have to constantly think about that when you're working with old vintage furs. And you have to add the structure back. I think that's going to be pretty. I think that's going to be really pretty. It's amazing how it immediately, I cut these to match it. It's amazing how it immediately balanced it. So we'll cut these down like that to match the tail. Oh, I really like that. I could do two. I mean, I could do two. I don't know. I'm going to look at it with one for a while and see what I like. Because I know I want this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and permanently affix it and cut the excess off. I'll leave enough excess to glue down so it's not in the way. See if my glue gun will reach. Barely. And I'm going to put a layer of glue over this leather bracing that I did earlier, and I'm going to fold the fur over. Number one, it anchors the fur. Number two, it anchors the entire piece. Just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. So I'm going to come here in the back and do the same thing and kind of wrap the fur around. And that just helps to affix this, because like I said, it's made from vintage stoles. So we have given it a new backbone and the ability to hang and still be strong. And you can kind of manipulate the hair to go up and lay a certain way over the glue. Okay. Okay, I really like that. I really like that, y'all. Oh, I really like that. And we can do two. I may go back and put the other one on it. I don't know. But right now, I'm really enjoying just the look of this one. And I do have this little piece that we can do up top with some feathers if I wanted to. Completely an option, you know. It's your piece of art. You can do whatever you want to with it. I'm going to cut another piece of leather as a backing for up top. And I have some really thick leather somewhere here. So, no, I don't want to use that. Where's my other really thick leather? Where did I put it? I have some really thick leather that I'll make a hanger out of. For right now, I'm going to make a temporary hanger out of a tinier piece. Just basically as a spot holder. And so that when I get ready to put the other hanger on there, I kind of know where I'm going with it. Now I still will have to put a piece of selenite over here. I'm gathering that from right now. Just so the fox doesn't look like he's walking downhill. So you guys are looking at the back, there's the front. Don't want the fox to look like he's walking downhill, so I will have to put a piece of selenite over here. And I've got to cut this little piece of leather right here off. I'm kind of digging this. I kind of like the asymmetry of it all. I may change it later. I don't know. We'll see how my brain processes it as we work with it. Now, where did I cut a piece of leather? Where did I put it? There it is. Y'all. My brain works, but sometimes when I go into hyperspeed, I sometimes need to slow down. I'm going to glue this leather to the crosshairs of some of my weaving up here. And then I'm going to start going in for feathers. I'm going to use my bigger feathers first. Say that 5 times fast. And I also have some pampas grass and stuff like that. Probably going to put some of that on there. Natural stuff. I really enjoy using it. And it also helps hold the piece of leather in place for the other things that I want to put on. And I glued it to my nail. I've glued it to my nail. Howdy for everybody jumping in. My name's Elizabeth. I'm making a foxtail from Vintage Stoles, a foxtail dangle dreamcatcher. And I'm using a lot of natural items to layer this piece. So I've got, I think, 4 tiny artificial flowers on it so far. Everything else is natural. And I'm going to open up some more of my turkey feathers. I'm out. The only thing I have for my ornamental farms, I have some chicken and goose feathers. I'm out of turkey feathers. I have some pheasant feathers. So my fowl farms, I don't have a lot of feathers from them yet, so I've had to purchase some bigger feathers, but that's okay. My fowl farms, those chickens, they'll be molting again soon. Just hang on. So I don't mind to buy feathers every once in a while. But I do prefer the natural ones, and then I do them in a salt bath to cleanse them and kill everything. I've got to do a major cleanup effort in this room. So I'm going to put some turkey feathers over what I've just laid down. And I don't know if this is going to go both ways or just one yet. We'll see. My brain has not computed that yet, so. Right now, what I've blended together between the pampas grass and the feathers, I've got the leather backing so I can add more to it. That's where we are right now. I do have these adorable little dried flowers right here. And I do like to layer those and make them give some height and space to things. See if we can get those. And I've got that hanger up there holding space. I put the real hanger in, so now then. This is where it gets hairy and you're going to burn yourself. Let's see. Can I get a pheasant feather? Let me get one of my pheasant feathers. And y'all, I'm about out of pheasant feathers. I made a really beautiful ceremonial staff last night. And so I'm running out of feathers. Okay, there we go. That gave it some height up there. I don't want too much height, but I want it to look layered. So there's my pheasant feather up there. Now I want to bring some of the nature back up to the top. So we're going to go back after our little green dried tiny puff flowers that I've been using. This poor plastic container has seen better days. Okay. And we're going to pick out some puffy pieces that have good stems. We're going to need really good stems up here at the top. to brace. Okay. And we are going to embed these into the feathers and into this foliage. That's a word you don't think about how difficult it is to say till you say it. And then you find a creative way to glue it. There's not always a way to glue these things. You just kind of have to work with it. Okay. And let's see. I think I can probably put one more feather up there. And honestly, I just play with it until it looks done. But I've been doing this for a long time, so I guess it gets easier. The longer you make these, the easier it gets to know when you're getting to a place that's done. And I will also use my feathers to anchor the smaller flowers to hold their shape. And with the pieces I do, I always do a one-off somewhere. So if I make something, there'll be a one-off. There'll be one different feather, one different bead, one random item somewhere. So I always do something random on each piece that I make. And the people that have bought from me before always like drive themselves nuts trying to find the one-off. I think that's funny. But they know, since they bought from me for years, they kind of know how I operate. So they're always looking for that one-off. And I'm like, sometimes I really do hide it too. And sometimes I don't. But it's always funny. It's always funny to have people know your process, and they'll like, before they purchase the item that they want, they'll sit there and just try to figure out where that one-off is, and it cracks me up. It's very funny. Okay, glue those together. Okay, so now we're just creating a layered kind of puff up here. So when we're going to build it across, it will have interest up here, down here, you know. And we might do the other tail yet. I'm not there yet. I don't know. My brain has not told me yet. I am going to use this little burlap pretty ribbon to do a little makeshift bow up here. And we're just trying to repeat patterns on the bottom and on the top. So while I do like the asymmetrical view, I also want some symmetry with this. So we're going to repeat some of the themes. And that's basically to keep your eyes happy, so that when they look, they kind of see what they're looking for, because our body looks for patterns. It finds comfort in patterns. And so you just kind of add a little wobble of those up there. And I may add, once again, just to pull the colors, I may add a little bit of the pink up there, and I may add a little bit of the green. And these are great colors to play off of the foxtail. Oh, goodness gracious. Trying to find the end. Successfully hit it for myself. There it is. I want to do about the same amount. Ah. Okay. Blow that wind. I am over the weather. It's not being nice to me this year, and I'm over it. Now, it's cheap when I make bows because I basically double them up and I might tie them and I might not. Sometimes I will just twist them and glue them. And if they're going behind something else, 9 times out of 10, that's what I'm going to do. Because there's no sense in driving yourself nuts trying to make a bow that is going to be hid behind 50,000 other things. I want the ends kind of rough, so okay, that's pretty. Let's do that. And then we can hide more stuff behind the bow. Anchor and use it as an anchor as we need to. I'm going to pull the burlap down to hold it as well. And I've got one string down here I'm going to pull up to go over it. And I just glued every nail I have to everything. So now I have to let my nails dry for a minute before I can finish that. Oh, hot glue, you're a double-edged sword. Okay, let's see here. Just put a bunch of in there, and that'll do. That'll do, pig. Where did that come from? I say that all the time, and I don't have a clue where it came from. I've obviously heard it somewhere. If I can answer that. And if Serendipitous is watching this, Serendipitous, your mail will go out today. And as everybody else's stuff gets packaged and ready, I'll send it out as well. Serendipitous won the crocheted rabbit. And so he will hop in the mail today. Ha ha ha. That was lame, I know. In hopes that he gets there just in time to help her family celebrate the holiday. Okay, and we're going to add some more stuff there to add some more interest, but that's what that side of it's looking like. Got pheasant feathers, wheat, turkey feathers, 3 types of ribbons, some dried flowers. We're moving right along, y'all. So this is the bigger picture right now. We're going to do a little fur fall here with maybe a couple more feathers, and that's going to be about it. I may not. We'll see if I do more feathers. I don't know. We'll see. Because sometimes I like to just abruptly stop whatever I'm doing, have that be the end. The end. So I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Okay. I don't know yet. Let's see. Where did I put everything? I would hide absolutely everything for myself if I could. I mean, it's just what I do. I hide everything for myself, and I would be like, I just had it in my hand. Where did it go? It's an everyday occurrence for me. With absolutely every medium I work with, I hide everything from myself. And get up and look from afar and see if I can find this. Oh, without my hair bow, does that count? Probably not. It doesn't help that the wind blows in here and just rolls everything around. Okay, I know I have selenite straws in here somewhere. That will also go on here. So I do know that the selenite straws will be put on here very soon. I don't know. Maybe that means it doesn't want to live there. I'm going to take that as a sign that it doesn't want to live there. And I'm going to continue working with some other stuff. Oh, and this is something that I have kept to put on here, and y'all may think it's weird. I have these little mushrooms. I know, random. They look really real, but they're like styrofoam, but they're so freaking cute. And so I think I'm going to put some of those in here. And I like for people, the longer they look at what I make, the more they find. I enjoy doing that. So that's another thing I like to do. And sometimes even after I've made them, I will have to stand back and look. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, I put that there. Oh yeah, I did that. Just touch glue again. So anybody playing the drinking game. But yeah, sometimes I have to stand aside and make myself glance back and remember what I have placed on this thing. So it's kind of funny. I really love these mushrooms, and I think whoever gets this is probably going to be a determining factor for them because they're cute. They'd be cute. Oh my gosh, I found a doormat that I've got to get myself, y'all. It's so random, but listen, I'm a retired pro officer, and I have a very wicked sense of humor. But I saw it, and it's so not me, but it is at the same time. And all it is a doormat that says, "Ho, why is you here?" And I want that so bad. I want that so bad on my front porch. Why? I don't know. It just feels necessary. Oh, I hear geese. Well, I'm going to do a sin and cover up part of this tail because I want my mushroom to live there, so. That is so freaking cute. Okay, we've got the little mushrooms in there now, too. I'm sorry, but it's cute. I don't care who you are. That's adorable. And I have some to go up at the top, too, but I'm going to wait to put those in after I see exactly. I don't know what I'm going to do at the top. I may just put this up here and stop. Yeah, I'm going to do another feather underneath, and then I may call it. I mean, I don't need too awful much in there. It's looking pretty good anyway. Weaving these feathers in on top of each other, y'all. Not always easy or fun. So what's y'all's favorite channels on YouTube? I'm trying to find just a new somebody to watch, a new outlet, I guess is the word. Just a different face, a different momentum. So I've been trying to find somebody new to stare at and learn from. I do enjoy watching other artisans on YouTube. But then I actually just kind of like watching stupid crap sometimes too. I mean, there's a time and a place that your brain just needs to kind of have a brain fart as well. And I think it's healthy to let your brain do that every once in a while. So I'm also just looking for somebody that's funny. Just funny to spend time with. And so I've been looking for new channels. And sometimes, you know, YouTube will kind of pigeonhole you. And it's really hard to find new people. And I think I'm in that weird spot in my YouTube journey to where YouTube's like, no, you can only see these people. I'm like, no, I really want to watch somebody else now. And YouTube's like, no, you only need to watch this person. So I've been struggling to find some new material to just, you know, and I don't really like to watch TV, but I will watch like other artisans make stuff all day long. or I will learn a new skill through somebody. That's what I like to do on YouTube. And it's getting really difficult to find new faces to watch. So if y'all know any new channels, or you have a channel that you think is just absolutely amazing, drop it in the comments, in the chat section, or when this loads in the comments, and let me know about it, because I am desperately seeking some other type of knowledge to consume, and YouTube is being a bit of a twat. It's not so easy to find them sometimes. So I'm fixing in the fur bob on the top now, so let me do my glue attachment here. Then I'll come back and show you. I'm gonna burn myself. Ah, see, told you. One more piece of leather. Okay. Somebody's coming down the road making big noise, big noise. Normally that means they need to buy big muffler, big muffler. About burnt myself good right then. Okay. Oh, that's that little boy on his four-wheeler. Never mind. It's Ben. Ben's out riding. They see me roll. What is it? They see me rolling. They hate me. He likes to ride. Although sometimes he gets a little loud. But it's just Ben. It is nice, though, since my kids are grown and gone. It is kind of nice to still have children make noise in the neighborhood, you know, because there for a while it was kind of the doldrums here. All the kids had grown up and gone on. There's where we're at now with that. Kind of have to fluff it. That's a ribbon hanging down. Kind of have to fluff it and maybe augment the ribbon a little bit more, add a couple more pieces of ribbon. That's where we are now. So there's the fur bob, the ribbon. Probably need to add a little bit more height to the ribbon right through here. That's Ben doing a donut in the road. Okay, so got one fur dangle, all this up here. I'm going to put some selenite to anchor over here. I may do the other tail. I don't know. I'm going to have to stare at it for a few days, but this is kind of where we're at. And I don't think it needs any feathers dangling. I really don't. I might put one or two, but I really don't think it needs much. And I'm tickled with it thus far. Now I may stare at it for 4 or 5 days and completely go a different direction for a moment or two. But for the most part, once I think I'm done, I pretty much am done. But, you know, like I said, every once in a while I'll stare at it for a few days and it'll need something else. I kind of, if you will, let them talk to me for a little while. And so if I stare at it for a few days and really think that it's missing something, I'll go back and add something. I'll change it. I'll do whatever I feel needs to be done. So that I'm happy with it. Because if I'm not happy with it, then, you know, I wouldn't expect whoever buys it to be happy with it. If I'm staring at it and thinking that it needs something else, then in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, the person that buys this is probably going to have that same emotion at some point. So then I'll go back and add something else. So I'm going to build a base for this other bow. And so I can put the other mushy rooms up here somewhere. I'm going to fold this bow and stick it down in there so it angles up. And feed through the tails to where they drop where I want them. Oh, that's pretty. We need another prong of the green flowers. This is balance right now. All I'm doing right now is just symmetry, balance in my eyesight and mind. That's all my brain is wanting to see right now, symmetry and balance. So that's all I'm doing right now, is providing the balance that I want to see, because it makes me think that other people will want to see it as well when they purchase this. So that's what I'm doing right now, symmetry and balance. And most of that is built on the layers, the the mass and the colors. That's kind of where all that comes from. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, now we're going to put a mushroom up here. Because I have to. I really am digging these little mushrooms that I found. And they're just stupid little things, but they just add something, which, I don't know, a level of whimsy that I think it needs. And I'm going to feed the hair kind of through them and around them so that it anchors them in and pulls that tail up and around and glue everything to your fingernails, Elizabeth. Just go right ahead. Okay, there we go. Now we've got our mushrooms in there. We've got the balance of the green on that side. Got the fur palm. I'm going to have to get all my glue. Turkey feathers, the pheasant feathers, and got a turkey feather there as well. Got the die cut with the gems and the flowers down here with the mushrooms and all the dangles and the tail, and I really flipping love this. This is so cute. I'm going to cut this piece of leather off while I'm staring at it. Otherwise, it's going to haunt me if I don't. This is so cute, y'all. It's asymmetrical, which I may go back and put the other tail on. I'm going to stare at it for a while. It's asymmetrical, but it's so flipping cute. I'm going to put my selenite straws when I locate them in around through here and on the edge. I'll probably sneak some other gemstones. I think I have some sodalite. I know I have some lapis around here, and I'll probably sneak some of that in. And I'll use the gemstones to perfect the weight and the balance. But that's pretty much how I roll and do this. Don't forget when you are doing your dreamcatcher to when you here's the hole, to always place a spider on your dreamcatcher, which is the protector of the web that also helps to consume the negative energy. And my one odd thing will be this black feather that I will place in at random when I almost get done, and I kind of try to hide it. But like I said, the people that have bought from me before, they'll know to look for it. They'll be like, what's the one-off? And it's normally a feather that I've stuck in somewhere that doesn't match anywhere else. Sometimes it's a bead. If I do jewelry, a bead or something like that. But it's always something. You kind of have to look for it. Yeah, I think I might put that back there. I don't know. I'll put it right there. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of want it there. Yeah, let's put it there. I like it there. And sometimes the more you put it right smack in their face, the harder it is for them to find it. And no, I'm not playing with the minds of the people that purchase from me, but I just really enjoy, because that's something they always do. They're like, where did you put it? And I'm like, you'll have to find it. Like, you'll have to find it. I'm not going to tell you. And I always enjoy that. I am going to put another brace back here on these feathers at the top because I want them to last. And if we have wind, I don't want them traveling. So I'm going to brace those a little bit more back here than a piece of leather. So now we've got our one black feather sticking out up there. You see it? That'll be my one off. Okay, so I'm going to do the finish work and the balance work with this. And might add a feather too. That'll be about it. So if you want to do a dream catcher, it's not a horribly hard craft. It's fun. You don't have to follow all the rules if you're not making it. For a historical context, just make one. You don't have to like if you're not making one to help somebody with something they're going through, to have the dream catcher medicine basically, then that's okay. You don't have to. I'm gonna put feathers on these two main right here. You don't have to make them perfectly to culture. The one thing I really like about Native American culture is we don't really gatekeep too much. We enjoy, if you enjoy our culture, and if you want to use something, we're like, cool beans. And Ben's gonna wreck. But we don't mind if you do it exactly. We don't think you're trying to make fun of us if you If you do your own twist, we don't care. We just really enjoy that you are enjoying something that you're learning from, and something that we enjoy, and it's something we can have in common in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be done exactly the way that we do it. We just enjoy that, hey, we've got that kind of in common, and that's kind of neat. And you don't have to do it or enjoy it exactly the way that we do. We're just glad that you enjoy it. And I really do like that about this culture. And it was, as a kid, when we went to powwows, I was like the only kid there with freckles. And I never got treated any differently by anyone. It was always welcoming. As I matured and had kids, and I've got a redheaded son. He tans. He's got really dark red hair. My daughter has got the high cheekbones and stuff, but both of my kids are lighter complexion because of the genetics from my marriage, and they never treated anybody any differently. And so I never, I never saw. I never saw anything but what the other kids saw. I never got treated anyway but how the other kids got treated, and I never got talked to in the way that any other adult didn't get talked to. It was just, I was just one of them, and there wasn't this huge, you have to be this, that, or the other. And I really, I've not felt that in many other places in my life. So, okay, we put 2 turkey feathers down here in the ribbon. I'll let these dangle for a while before I cut off the excess. Really enjoyed doing this. I've got a few other things to put on it, but that is basically how easy it is to make a dream catcher. And if you want an authentic one with the dream catcher, juju behind it, I do make those. You can email me at watersworkload, all one word, watersworkload@gmail.com. Kind of tell me what's going on and why you think you need a dream catcher. And like I said, you don't pay for me to weave. All you pay for is what I put on the dream catcher, because it can get rather expensive, as you can see, with all the stuff I put on them. But when I do one for someone having a problem, everything I put on is reason. Like I had someone contact me a couple of days ago, and one of the things they needed was cinnabar, which is it is a mineral that is not always easy to come across, and it's not one that a lot of people think about, but it was one that was going to need to be on that dream catcher. So I had to go on the hunt for cinnabar, and so that's where it gets a little expensive. But if it's needed, I'll find it and put it on there. So that's what you kind of resubmit to me for all the materials that I put in there. I've got so much glue on me. But if I'm doing it for a purpose of you thinking you need one for the old school reasons, then you do not pay for weaving. You just pay for materials. I don't believe you should pay for weaving in that regard, because my weaving is free to help you at that point. But the materials do get kind of pricey to get them done. I harvest the willow, and try to get everything local. When chicken farms, I have a lot of ornamental chicken farms around here that pick up stuff, but every once in a while I do have to buy stuff, especially when chickens are not molting and are kind of holding their own like they do at the end of winter. But that's okay too, we get through. But I do try to locally source or source in a more sustainable way and help smaller farmers and regular people instead of corporations. But sometimes you just got to have to buy it because you can't find it anywhere else, especially when chickens don't want to molt. So that is how you do a dream catcher. So I'm thankful y'all hung on with me and let me do my thing. I hope you attempt to make one of these at some point and you enjoy it as much as I do. I get a lot of my calmness from crafting these days, because all my other coping mechanisms and all my other hobbies kind of lost me as soon as my neuromuscular disorder presented, and I couldn't ride my horses, train my horses, hike. I used to dig ginseng in the fall with my husband. I used to do a lot of hunting. I can't do any of that anymore because of my neuromuscular disorder. So this became a primary outlet for me, and I really enjoy it, and I enjoy sharing it. So thank you for spending time with me. And once again, if you'd like to look at some of my husband's handiwork or some of the stuff that he thought was pretty enough that he wanted to back to recoup some of his craft fees that he pays for me to, because he buys everything that I craft with, bless his heart. You can go on his Etsy store, which is Hillbilly Heart Decor. So it's etsy.com/shop/Hillbilly Heart Decor, all one word. You can go and see what he's got on there. I'm not really sure what all he's got on there. I know I made some bags, and I think he put some on there. I think he does have a dreamcatcher, an ornamental dreamcatcher on there. I don't know. He's got some furs and stuff on there, but I don't know what else is in there. It's I know he packaged something this morning, so he had a sale. That's all I know. But he's got stuff on there. You can go and check that out. And if you want to check out his channel is Trapper Dave Waters. And you can kind of look through his last couple of trapping seasons. He doesn't talk a lot like me. He's banned a few words, and he just kind of shows you what he does and tries to do it ethically and not like gross anyone out. But he's on a mission to bring a piece of land. It's a cattle farm, but it's hooked into a bunch of protected land, and this piece of land is dead. It's overrun with predators. It's overrun with nest predators. The birds you can't find them. The bees, insects, you can't find them. So it's actually working with the State and Wildlife Resources Agency. They're working together to kids are playing. They're working together to try to trap and get the numbers in balance. We don't ever trap to eradicate. That is not ethical. That is not good. And all you're going to do is open your land up for other animals to come in and have WWE smackdown. You don't do it. You want a healthy population of animals you can work with. So he's trying to get the land back in balance so the cattle farmer is not being, attacked all winter by the predators. The birds and the turkeys and everything can come back. The honeybees and other stuff can come back, and the land will be healthy again. And so he's actually been working on this piece of land for 3 years now, 2 or 3 years now. And it's become a passion of his. So he likes to share that with you all. And we may not have your quote unquote normal life, but this is where all the curves and kiss your butt turns in life took us. And we like to share it. Terribly simple people. And sometimes it's good for other people to see that. So it's getting very warm here on the plateau. I'm going to go put a fan in the window and crochet for a little while. Take a break from all the hot glue. So thanks again for joining me. Do something today that makes you smile. Try to make somebody else smile. And go to bed thankful. That's the best way so that you'll wake up renewed. And when I get done with this, I'll post pictures on the community post page. And we'll see what we get into on the next thing. Probably going to do a rattle next. Don't know if I'll share that one or not. I get really into the rattles, but I'll definitely post pictures. Appreciate you hanging on with me. It's been kind of silent. That's okay. Just watch this, share it, and share the Etsy store, Hillbilly Heart Decor. David would appreciate it. And come back and visit me again. Maybe I'll look better and I won't be coming out of flare and swollen and look like death. I won't guarantee it, though. Appreciate your time. I'll see you again soon.